All right, data. It's everywhere, right? It
Yeah.
feels like every part of every business is overflowing with it. But how do we make sense of it all? I mean, how do we even know what data to trust, let alone use it to make, smarter decisions?
It really is a challenge, yeah. Companies have been trying to wrangle this data chaos, right? By centralizing it all into giant data warehouses. That was the big idea, create this one data lake to rule them all. But the reality is, it hasn't quite lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I'm hearing that more and more. These data warehouses just kind of becoming bottomless pits of expense. And even then, the data isn't really accessible or usable.
Right.
It's almost like having a library with millions of books, but no Dewey Decimal System.
Exactly. And think about this. A recent study actually found that most organizations are only analyzing like 12% of the data they collect.
Seriously.
Yeah. So that means 88% of their data investment is basically going waste. And that's not even factoring in like the rising costs of storage or the complexity of managing these massive systems.
Okay, so centralized data warehousing isn't the silver bullet we hoped for.
Hmm.
But what's the alternative? Are we just stuck with this data chaos?
Definitely not. Actually, there's a shift happening towards a more kind of decentralized approach. And it really comes down to changing how we think about data. Instead of cramming it all into one place, we need to start treating data as a product.
Data as a product.
Yeah.
That's a new one for me.
So think of it this way. Instead of a giant data lake, you've got smaller, more focused data products, tailored to specific business needs. So you might have one for marketing analytics, one for supply chain, that sort of thing. Each one is designed to, deliver value for a specific function, specific process.
So it's like breaking down that massive, overwhelming library into smaller, more manageable collections, each with its own clear purpose.
Exactly. And this approach is gaining traction for a lot of reasons. First, it, aligns with how businesses actually operate. Different departments, they have different data needs. Makes sense to manage the data in a way that reflects that, right?
Right. Plus, it probably makes the data a lot easier to use. I mean, if I'm in marketing, I don't want to have to wade through like mountains of financial data to find what I need.
Exactly. Data products are designed with the end user in mind. They provide the specific data and tools that a particular team needs to do their job. And this also makes it easier to ensure data quality, maintain consistency.
Okay, so data products sound like a promising way to navigate this kind of decentralized world. But how do we actually manage all these different products? It seems like it could still be a pretty complex landscape.
You're right. Managing data products, especially in a decentralized environment, requires a whole new set of tools and approaches. We need solutions that can help us, first of all, discover what data we have, then understand it and manage it, even when it's spread across multiple systems and platforms. And luckily, there are solutions emerging that are designed to do just that. They offer a way to map out data relationships, track data lineage, and ensure data quality, across that entire data ecosystem.
So instead of having one giant control center for all our data, we need a system that can orchestrate all these individual data products and keep them in sync.
That's a great way to put it. We need a platform that acts as a conductor, right? Ensuring that all the different data products are playing in harmony. And one of the most powerful tools we have for achieving that is a knowledge graph.
Now, I've heard the term knowledge graph thrown around a lot lately, but I'll admit I'm still a bit fuzzy on what it actually is.
Think of a knowledge graph as a visual map of your entire data landscape. So it shows you how all the different data sets connect, where the data originates, and how it flows through your various systems. It's almost like having X-ray vision into your data.
Okay, so it's not just a list of all your data, it's a way to see the relationships, the connections between different data points.
Exactly. And this visual representation, it's incredibly powerful. It helps everyone from business users to data scientists understand this complex web of data relationships and then make better decisions based on that understanding. It also makes it a lot easier to spot potential data quality issues or compliance risks, before they become big problems.
So it sounds like knowledge graphs are crucial for managing these data products and also for ensuring that we can actually trust the insights that we're deriving from all this data.
Absolutely. And this is especially important as we enter the era of generative AI, because these AI systems, they rely so heavily on high quality data to train their models and generate accurate results. So if the data is flawed or biased, the AI outputs will be too.
That is a bit scary, isn't it? I mean, we're already seeing examples of AI systems, generating biased content or even harmful content because of the data that they were trained on.
Yeah, it is a concern. It really highlights the critical importance of data quality and governance, especially in this context of AI. But on the flip side, a robust data management system, with features like a knowledge graph and dynamic data lineage, that can actually help to mitigate those risks.
Well,
By providing a clear understanding of where the data comes from, how it's been processed, and what potential biases might be embedded in it, these systems allow us to proactively address data quality and make sure that the data feeding our AI systems is reliable.
so it's like having a quality control system for our data, making
Mhm.
sure that only the good stuff gets used to train our AI.
Exactly. And in a world where AI is becoming so pervasive, that kind of data quality assurance is going to be essential, not just for the accuracy of the AI outputs, but also for ethical reasons. We need to ensure that the AI systems we're building are fair, unbiased, and they don't perpetuate harmful stereotypes.
That's a good point. It's not just about getting the right answers from our data. It's about making sure that those answers are, ethical and responsible.
Absolutely. And that's why I think the conversation about data management, it's no longer just a technical one. It's a conversation about ethics, responsibility, and the kind of future we want to build with AI.
Very well said. This is getting really interesting. It's starting to see how these seemingly technical concepts around data management, they actually have these huge implications for the way we work, the decisions we make, even the kind of society we create.
Exactly. And as we move forward in this deep dive, we'll explore some specific solutions that are helping organizations navigate this very complex data landscape, manage their data products effectively, and ultimately ensure their AI initiatives are built on this foundation of trust and responsibility.
I am ready to learn more. Let's do it.
One of the key challenges in this world of decentralized data is that a lot of the traditional data management tools, they just aren't really cutting it anymore. They were built for, a world of centralized data warehouses, and they really struggle to keep up with the complexity of this kind of distributed data landscape that we're talking about.
Yeah, I can imagine. Trying to manage data products, especially when they're spread across all these different systems and platforms, it could easily turn into a nightmare with the right tools.
Exactly, yeah. It's like trying to herd cats. And that's why we're seeing this rise in solutions that are specifically designed for decentralized data management. They provide the visibility, the control, and the automation that you need to manage data effectively in this new environment.
So what are some of the key capabilities that organizations should be looking for in these solutions? What sets them apart from the traditional data management tools?
One of the most important features is dynamic data lineage. This is the ability to automatically track and visualize how data flows through your various systems and processes, even as those systems and processes change.
So it's like having a GPS for your data,
Yeah.
showing you exactly where it came from, where it's going, and all the stops along the way.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And unlike traditional data lineage solutions, which a lot of times they rely on manual updates so they quickly become outdated, dynamic data lineage updates in real time. So that means you always have an accurate view of your data's journey, regardless of how complex or how dynamic your data landscape becomes.
That's got to be crucial for maintaining data quality,
Yeah.
especially when you're dealing with multiple data sources and all these complex data pipelines.
Absolutely. And this real-time visibility is also essential for compliance because a lot of regulations, they require organizations to be able to demonstrate where their data came from and how it was processed. So dynamic data lineage makes it much easier to provide that evidence.
So it's a win-win for both data quality and compliance.
Yeah.
What else should we be looking for in a good decentralized data management solution?
Another key feature is the ability to empower business users to access and understand data without having to rely on technical teams. Because traditionally, data analysis has been, the domain of IT professionals and data scientists. But in a truly data-driven world, everyone needs to be able to work with data.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We can't expect every business user to suddenly become a data scientist. We need tools that make data accessible, understandable for everyone.
Exactly. And so these solutions, they provide intuitive interfaces, visualizations, and self-service analytics capabilities that allow business users to explore data, generate insights, and make data-driven decisions without needing to write code or understand, really complex database structures.
So it's about democratizing access to data
Yeah.
and empowering everyone in the organization to become a data citizen.
Precisely. And this democratization of data, it's essential for fostering a truly data-driven culture. Because when everyone in the organization feels comfortable working with data, that's when you can really unlock the power of data to drive innovation and make better decisions.
This is all starting to paint a much clearer picture of how we can manage data effectively in this decentralized world, right? We've got data products tailored to specific needs, dynamic data lineage to track the data flows, and tools that empower business users. But there's still this one piece of the puzzle we haven't talked about: data quality. How do we ensure that the data we're using is accurate, reliable, and fit for purpose?
That's an excellent point, and that's where the concept of a data quality platform becomes essential. These platforms, they act as guardians of data integrity. They help ensure that the data being used for analysis and decision-making is actually trustworthy.
So it's not enough to just manage our data. We also need to actively ensure its quality.
Absolutely. A data quality platform provides this centralized control point for defining and enforcing data quality rules across all your data products, regardless of where they reside. So they can help you identify and resolve data quality issues, like inconsistencies, duplicates, missing values, before they can really impact your analysis or decision-making.
It sounds like having a dedicated team of data detectives constantly on the lookout for inconsistencies and errors in our data.
That's a great way to think about it. And this is especially important as we become even more reliant on AI and machine learning, because these systems, they're only as good as the data that they're trained on. If you're feeding them flawed data, you're going to get flawed results, potentially leading to, bad decisions or even harmful outcomes.
Garbage in, garbage out. So a data quality platform becomes this critical component in this new data ecosystem, ensuring that the data powering our analytics and AI is actually reliable and trustworthy.
Exactly. And the great thing is that a lot of these data quality platforms, they integrate seamlessly with decentralized data management solutions, providing this really comprehensive approach to managing both the flow and the quality of your data.
Okay, now that's what I call a powerful combination.
It is. And speaking of powerful combinations, there's another exciting development that's really changing the way we collect and manage data: AI agents.
AI agents.
For data collection.
Okay, now that sounds futuristic. Tell me more. How do they work? And why are they relevant in this conversation?
So imagine software robots that can automatically gather data from a variety of sources, both internal and external. They can crawl websites, extract information from documents, even interact with other systems to collect data. It's like having a team of tireless digital assistants working around the clock to gather information for you.
Okay, that sounds incredibly efficient. But with this increased automation, how do we ensure compliance with data privacy regulations like GDPR? And how do we protect sensitive information in this kind of increasingly interconnected world?
Those are great questions, yeah. Data privacy and cybersecurity, they are paramount concerns, especially in this age of AI-driven data collection. We need to be very, very mindful of how these AI agents access, store, and use data.
It's not just about collecting the data. It's about collecting it responsibly and ethically.
You got it. So we need to ensure that these AI agents are programmed to comply with data privacy regulations. So they should only be accessing and processing data that they're authorized to use. And then we also need robust security measures in place to protect that data from unauthorized access and, cyber threats.
So how can organizations balance this power of AI-driven data collection with this, imperative of protecting sensitive information?
It is a delicate balancing act. It requires a multifaceted approach. First and foremost, organizations, they need to have really clear data governance policies that define the rules for data access, storage, and usage. And these policies, they need to be aligned with relevant regulations and industry best practices.
So it starts with that strong foundation of data governance.
Absolutely, yeah. Then we need to make sure that the AI agents themselves, they're built with privacy and security in mind. So this includes things like using privacy-preserving techniques, encrypting sensitive information, and implementing access controls to restrict data access to only authorized personnel.
It sounds like we need to embed these privacy and security principles directly into the DNA of these AI agents.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about the technology. It's also about fostering a culture of data responsibility within organizations. So employees need to be trained on data privacy regulations, cybersecurity best practices. They need to really understand the importance of handling data responsibly and, the potential consequences of data breaches.
So it's this combination of technology, policies, and people all working together to ensure data privacy and security.
Precisely. And it's an ongoing journey. As technology evolves and, new threats emerge, we need to constantly be adapting our approaches to make sure we're collecting and using data ethically and securely.
Sounds like there's no room for complacency in this rapidly evolving data landscape.
You're absolutely right. But with the right tools and this proactive approach to data governance and security, organizations can really harness the power of data while still protecting sensitive information and complying with regulations.
This is giving me a lot to think about. The future of data management it's complex, it's dynamic, but it also feels like an incredibly exciting time to be working in this field.
I agree. It is challenging, but it's so rewarding. And I think that organizations that can really master these new approaches to data management are going to be the ones that thrive in the years to come.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, right? Data governance, data literacy, data quality, all these critical pieces of building a trustworthy data ecosystem. But, where do we go from here? What are some specific solutions that can actually help organizations put all these principles into practice?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? And well, the good news is there's this whole ecosystem of tools and technologies emerging to support, all these efforts. And one area that I think is particularly exciting is the development of data catalogs and data discovery platforms.
Data catalogs, that sounds kind of like those old library card catalogs, but for data instead of books.
Yeah, you're on the right track. Think of a data catalog as like this centralized repository of metadata about all the data within an organization. It's almost like a map, right? It helps you understand what data you have, where it's located, who owns it, how it's defined, and how it's being used.
So it's not just like a list of files and databases. It's a way to make sense of all that data and put it into context.
Exactly. So data catalogs, they provide this single source of truth for data definitions, makes it much easier for everyone in the organization to understand and use data consistently. And they also help with data discovery, so they allow users to search for and find the data they need, even if it's spread out across multiple systems and platforms.
That sounds incredibly helpful, especially in a world where data is, increasingly distributed, increasingly complex.
Yeah.
But how do these data catalogs actually work? Do you have to manually enter all that metadata?
Some of them do require manual input, but a lot of the newer solutions, they're leveraging automation and AI to really streamline that process so they can automatically scan and crawl data sources, extract metadata, even infer relationships between different data sets.
So it's like having this team of data librarians working behind the scenes
Yeah.
to organize and classify all your data.
That's a great way to put it. And these AI-powered data catalogs, they're constantly learning and improving, so they become even more effective at, managing this growing complexity of data landscapes.
Okay, this is all starting to sound pretty impressive. But are there any real-world examples of how these data catalogs are actually making a difference?
Oh, absolutely. There's one company I've been following that's actually using a data catalog to streamline their compliance efforts. They were really struggling to keep up with all the requirements of GDPR, which requires organizations to be able to demonstrate what personal data they collect, where it comes from, how it's used.
That sounds like a nightmare, especially if you're dealing with data spread across multiple systems.
It was a real challenge for them. But by implementing a data catalog, they were able to create the centralized inventory of all their personal data, track its lineage, and ultimately demonstrate compliance with GDPR's transparency and accountability requirements.
So the data catalog essentially became their compliance command center.
Exactly. And that's just one example. Data catalogs are also being used to improve data quality, accelerate data discovery, empower business users to find and use the data they need, without having to rely on IT.
It sounds like they're becoming an indispensable tool for any organization that's serious about data management. But, what about the human side of the equation? We've talked a lot about data literacy, but how do we actually foster a culture of data-driven decision-making within organizations?
That's a great question. And it's something that really goes beyond just providing access to data or tools. It's about changing mindsets, changing behaviors.
So how do we do that? How do we get people to think differently about data?
Well, one important step is to demonstrate the value of data. People are much more likely to embrace data-driven approaches if they can see how data can actually help them solve problems, make better decisions, or even just improve their work.
Sure don't tell.
Exactly. So highlight successful examples of data-driven decision-making, within the organization. Share stories of how data helped a team to improve a process or launch a new product or solve a customer problem.
Then get real. Make it relatable.
Exactly. Another really important aspect is leadership buy-in. When leaders champion data-driven approaches and they model those behaviors, it sends a really powerful message to the rest of the organization.
Lead by example, walk the walk.
You got it. And don't underestimate the power of, training and education. Invest in data literacy programs that really equip everyone in the organization with the skills and knowledge that they need to actually work with data effectively.
So it's this like multi-pronged approach, demonstrating value, leading by example, providing training, and I guess fostering this culture of curiosity and experimentation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's an ongoing journey. It's not a destination. As data becomes increasingly central to business success, we need to continuously invest in building this data-driven culture, one that empowers everyone to really unlock the power of data.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive into this world of data management. We've explored the challenges, the opportunities, talked about data governance, data quality, data literacy, and even some of these emerging tools and technologies that are helping organizations navigate this, incredibly complex landscape.
And we've only scratched the surface. I mean, the data landscape is constantly evolving. But one thing is for sure, data is becoming more and more central to business success. And I really believe that the organizations that can master data management, they'll be the ones that thrive in the years to come.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you found it informative and maybe even a little inspiring. And remember, the future of data is really in our hands. Let's try to shape it wisely and responsibly.